Welcome to Citizen Security TV. Today we have a very eminent personality with us in the studio, a professional, a highly thoroughbred professional who has worked in the corporate as well as now he's in an entrepreneurial streak. More than 38 years of his experience have been in the entrepreneurial now. And he's working on a very serious project which probably all of us must know and must understand. Today, let us welcome into the studio Mr. Anil Daw. So, welcome to the studio, Mr. Anil Daw. How are
Thank you. Thank you. Nothing could be more exciting than to be in the industry in this way and speaking with the industry people. So it's a privilege, and thank you for that.
The CAPSI has always been at the forefront of most of these projects that have happened, and you have been associated with CAPSI for quite some time also. Just to understand from your point of view, your professional life, you have served with a very big multinational company, and then of course on an entrepreneurship. So, what is your what could be the lessons that have been learned from both your professional as well as your entrepreneurial streak?
I think they were more from a point one would have not expected or imagined, I would say, in the sense of taking me through the whole path. And today, where I am, I feel very confident, and I feel in a way being blessed with this. Because just to, I think, if I may introduce my background, I never thought I would be in this industry because basically I am an electrical engineer from University of Mysore, a gold medalist from Manipal, and
Congratulations.
thank you. And I started my career with security with one of the world's very famous brand called Modern Alarms of UK. And from there on, then I started into this industry, and the first and foremost break, and the one where I spent most of my career, was Group 4, which I feel very happy about it because I happened to be their first employee in India. And I was involved right from setting up from zero to how it built up. I no way take the credit of it, but I definitely feel very happy having gone through them my career and having learned so much. So most part of my uh, corporate serving had been with Group 4, and that gave me a strong exposure to all the brands. This I'm talking of the year 1989 when they came, when security was at the height in the sense of requirement because terrorism was very high, and most organizations were looking for solutions. And Group 4, enjoying that name in the industry, was their first choice to be consulted with. So I, being in first part of the team, had that opportunity to work with most of the brands, and probably that then only helped me out. That today, when I'm an entrepreneur, that I have that confidence.
But being with Group 4, it would have been, of course, a mind blowing sort of an experience in terms of the people that you were dealing with, in terms of the corporate that you were dealing with. From a private security industry, from then to now, what are your takes on that?
Well, no doubt it was challenging. Firstly, that I didn't come straight away from that background, but at the same time, I must explain you that in Group 4 we were given very strong training at their headquarters in UK, and that gave me the fundamentals very clear and the confidence. I have been very extensively trained at various Group 4 bases across the world, so that gave me the confidence on and then the nature of risk around which was available at the moment was more from a point of how good solutions one would bring into them, because the brand which I was representing was very strong. So we used to get very good hearing with the top management, and we ensured that we had backup supports in the initial stages. Group 4 had international resource center based in UK, so we used to get very strong supports in terms of anything specific.
So, your risk taking appetite, I think, probably was one of the reasons why you took this entrepreneurial step. I think so. I don't know. You could explain it to me much better.
No, I think you have said it. It was that having worked for most of the organizations, whether it was Tata's, Birla's, Reliance, and that too very large projects we are talking. For example, Tata, generally, we don't talk much on details, but I don't mind giving a broad idea. Like for Tata's
True.
doing the whole audit for a township, from a security point, you can imagine the size.
Yeah, I can
The
understand.
whole Jamshedpur town being audited, and you being part of that team, and then different type of risk, right from kidnapping to the extent of losses and many more things happening. It was like just like learning regularly and building up the confidence. So when the stage came and I took up my entrepreneurship, I had nowhere in my mind at all of a kind of you know, poor approach or poor confidence in handling it, and I think that helped me. And today, in fact, it's not I'm trying to compare myself with Group 4. I consider Group 4 as my guru, but I must at the same time say some of those Group 4 important clients, I was able to develop them into my own company, DB Secure Solutions. So that gave me very strong confidence. And
So,
yes, you are right.
so just a very small brief on DB Secure solutions that you were talking of. What exactly do they do?
Well, DB Secure Solution is a group in which the major player is the security company DB Secure Solution Private Limited, and here we offer a very wide range of turnkey projects solutions in the field of security, fire, and risk analysis. We do auditing, and now we have also gone into drones, which I love and I have a passion for it. And we are developing it into kind of a strong player in drone services.
So, you know that after our leadership summit somewhere in the month of November, which we had, and it was a very successful summit that CAPSI undertook. And based on that, what happened was that the management and the board under the chairmanship of Kuwar Vikram Singh decided that to have various task force, and the drone task force happens to be one. And fortunately, today I am sitting with the leader of the task force of drone, Mr. Anil Daw here. And just if you could just a few points on first of all the aim, the objective, and probably the roadmap and the milestones of the drone task force. Just a very small. Then we'll discuss certain things later on.
Sure, but I think I still must start by saying one thing, and I really mean it, and I feel blessed, is that uh, being part of CAPSI and the leadership comes out with such wonderful, innovative ideas that today what Indian private security industry, the manner is growing, I think a lot of credit goes to him. And one of those ideas was drone. He thinks much, much ahead of what is happening. And in most of our interactions, we used to talk, we've been talking as what is happening into drone industry. And he picked up very rightly that the gray area of the drone industry should be addressed. And for that, the best thing he did was to constitute a task force. Now, anyone in my position would feel kind of being a recognition and being a leader of this task force and get probably very happy and to some extent carried away. Well, no doubt it's a recognition, but I take it more from a point of a very important responsibility on my shoulders. And you have been very kind in only putting the responsibility by my name, but I think the task force team, each and every member has been very correctly been selected into the task force, and you are part of one of them.
Yes, I happen to be a part of it.
So whatever we drive, I think I'm not wrong in to say, and we progress. A lot of credit goes to people like you who have been able to really, share responsibilities. So this is something really good, and I think the industry will be benefited with this kind of task force.
Speaking of the task force and the drone warriors task force, as it is called, there are certain misconceptions, there are certain conceptions, there are certain, you know, certain, what should I say, is that certain breakthroughs also which have happened in this. So just to talk on these a few things, like, the uh, what could be the possibilities of this entire outcome.
Well, for that, I think we have to understand where the whole industry of drone today stands at. I would start by saying that drones has been always been a very exciting subject to everyone, whether the person has been directly involved in kind of a stakeholder into the industry or whether it is just kind of an interest to him. Internally, in the whole process, there have been an area where probably there have been lack of development, and which had in fact slowed down the progress. For a minute, drones are into all the areas today. You start right from entertainment. I mean, we all see those on various instances wherein the in the night time, evening time, there are displays happening in the sky with lights, and then
True.
we come to know it's being done by drones.
Yeah.
We get very excited about
True.
it.
True.
So it starts with that simplicity, or probably even more simpler when there is a marriage or a function ceremony, then the drone is flying and taking pictures, which we later on will we enjoy from those pictures.
Yeah.
Now the drones have gone into security into big way, into infrastructures. It has gone into logistics. It has gone into, every area there is a requirement. But the gray area has been with such a big requirement, the availability of drones, and more than that, the people who actually fly the drones, which we call it as the drone pilots. So the task force main objective has been that we actually promote the pilots, availability of pilots into the industry.
Yeah, in fact, I was going through the site also, and we've been able to sort of see that there are about almost 116 probably, or even more than that, RTPOs, organizations that provide training. But I mean, and when I zeroed down onto the number of people who are really doing it, was about 50% of them. I don't know, maybe a compliance issue, maybe the fee structure as such, or could be that the availability of. But there are a lot of these Chinese drones which are available. I mean, and the government is trying to put in their regulations so that the restriction is there in terms of probably the weight and in terms of the size also of it. So, what do you see that from a compliance point of view, from a regulatory point of view, or even from a statutory body point of view, like the DGCA, etc.?
I think your question has two parts of it. Let me take the second part first. The Chinese drones have been, you could say, with the starters in the sense, because the drone initially came as a toy, as an entertainment. So most people used to bring them in for the sake of entertainment. And from there, it started building up into different applications, and it became big and big and big, and that's how it not only in India, in most of the countries, the drones from manufactured from China became most
Very popular.
very popular.
Very popular.
But if you see technically, when you see the drone, there is hardly anything which is kind of a rocket science, unless we are talking of very high specific applications. Generally, drones are not, and the way today the Indian uh, uh, students from the technical side, or people who have a lot of interest, have applied themselves so well and developed these drones that hardly one or two item of the drone, that also only from a cost point of view, are required to be imported. Again, I repeat, from a cost point of view, whether it's a kind of battery we are talking about or the drone motors, but technology point of view, those are also available. So that's how the Chinese drones got too popular. And then came the government policy, which I appreciate, has restricted it, both for the sake of the internal
I think probably because of indigenous development, they wanted that somebody from an Indian startup sort of get into it, and that's where I think
Yeah, that is one, and also drones. It may not be wrong to say from a security point of view, because most drones carry equipment, what we call it as a payload, and one of them very common is a camera. It's the kind of the eye of the drone. So there have been a lot of incidents and facts wherein the informations in the cameras, which is more in kind of a chip, had been at a risk from being getting transmitted not in a controlled way. So that is one reason that drones have been seen to be developed more indigenously. Correct, we promote, and availability is very strong. When it comes to the other side, which is the pilots, a lot of statistics have been in the market, but I think it is not wrong to say almost a lakh of pilots today are deficient in the industry. You can imagine what it means to.
True.
What CAPSI has done, when I said the leadership had took a very, very, I would say, encouraging positive step, is that in any industry you see the demand and the supply to in a way which really is the success of the industry.
That's it.
Here, what had happened was that both CAPSI had tried to see both available with them, in the sense that if you take the kind of only take the security industry from a drone application point of view, then all the big players and every player in the private security industry is today aware of drones and would like to use drones, not in true sense to replace human being guards, but in the integration way. So the demand exists here in a big way. And the interesting aspect has come is that we have the manpower, huge manpower of guards who look for something to learn more, to earn more, to make a career. So they are very excited that drones training from a point of operating a drone, they can adopt and they can run it. So they're too excited. So both the aspects are available here.
I think you're right, absolutely, because see, when you talk of a normal security guard, his basic duties, are restricted to probably his post or maybe in some cases a CCTV or something like that. Probably with upskilling, which would happen obviously with this upskilling. So he could see two things: a career enhancement, and the second thing is that his pay scale also getting much better than what it was previously. And now we come to the important factor of, I'm speaking of the DGCA now. You have been in touch with the DGCA. You have been in the forefront of getting a lot of things done from the DGCA. So what role? I mean, DGCA does play a major important role, but are they really proactive, or or they are on a reactive sort of a mode?
Well, DGCA is the nucleus and right nucleus in the sense of this industry getting regulated. And I am a big supporter of DGCA in the sense that the one part of the drone industry is also risk. I'm sure you understand. Where drones are being used. We keep hearing almost on a daily basis the international wars today which are being run across the world. One of the equipment used is the drone. So drone need to be regulated in a manner that it is not wrongly used. So DGCA the best thing DGCA has done is that defined a policy, and in the policy they have defined as areas where you can operate the drones. They have decided the categories of the drones, and they have decided many such related aspects. All these are only to control the misuse of the drones, which is very good. Yes, we are looking at DGCA in our support to us in this mission of task
force.
drone warriors. I personally is very optimistic in this because in most of my interactions, I have noticed they are well aware of this fact of pilots scarcity in the industry, and they were right in their own way, knowing that when the children go in for this, they spend a reasonably good amount today.
Yes, yes.
Without being kind of a strong or firm statement, from my own experience, I can say a 5 day or 6 day course takes a quite good amount. So most children who otherwise from a qualification point of view need only to be 10th standard pass, and other are very curious in those electronic things, just cannot afford. So that is where the CAPSI aspect will come, will make these courses affordable, and will make the availability of the pilots. The pilots can be used by the particular private security industry player for its own use, or he can hire them. He can give them on hire to others. The other aspect is the training aspect is also should be seen in two stages, which is again, as you rightly said, a career growth for the pilots. Here they are guards.
Yeah.
One part is the first stage where you operate the drones in a simple manner, which has its own application. The other part is the data which gets collected comes back to the base and is processed in a manner to bring certain results, whether they are mapping of the land to know the dimensions and exact mapping, which the banks are very keen these days to map all the mortgage property, or the agriculture where the health of the crop the farmer is very keen to see at the stage of when the seeds were grown, or the infrastructure when an accident happens. We all know the manner in which the highways are being built to across, and the speed on which the vehicles are moving. So everybody is enjoying. Unfortunately, when an accident happens, it takes time to reach.
Yeah.
A drone can fly very quickly and pick the pictures and
Send it back
for response.
Yeah. So you spoke of a lot of things like agriculture. In fact, I think the government had started this Namo Didi program.
Yeah.
Successful, not successful, we will not talk about it. That is for a different chapter totally. But yes, mapping is one portion in physical security also. We have, when you see manufacturing units, or you have a power plant, or you have pipelines, so these are huge areas where probably physical security, even if you go on bikes or you do whatever it is, it's highly impossible to cover all these areas. Firstly, secondly, is that if there is an incident or an accident that happens, it takes time for them to reach the spot. So at least by drones, you have that. Another aspect which I wanted to talk to you was on in the cases of mining also. Not much has been used so far, but this is a good fit case for the drone industry to work on in terms of, see, when you excavate the mine, when you do some excavation, there is a lot of theft that happens. So if that could, they could take a picture and probably, get the area and all. So what happens is you have an approximate number that you have in terms of whether, and you can convert it into how economically it is going to affect you.
Yeah.
So what is your thought on that, in the mining
I
industry?
think the list of applications are endless, if you ask me.
Yes. Yes.
And out of this, you have picked up some which are waiting for the drones to come.
Yeah.
For example, you picked up the mining. The mining aspect, we should know where the drones really needed, and many mining companies are using it. See, whatever they are mining, whether they are mining normal soil and looking for minerals, or they are precious elements, things like that, ultimately that comes out on the surface and gets stacked in the form of, let us say, a small mountain.
Yeah.
In the now on a daily basis, on one side it is essential to know that the volume of water was left the day before is there.
Is there or not?
Yeah, because those become so big, and even if somebody is picking up small from corners, you would lose a lot of money.
True.
Drones have the ability that the picture that they will take, through that the data that gets converted, finally comes onto a software. Through the software, they will be able to calculate the volumes. So once they know the volume and they see a change, it's an alarm.
Immediately, yes.
It's an immediate kind of
It's a trigger.
It's a trigger. The other thing which you said, I cannot ignore commenting, is the Didis, which the Prime Minister has promoted.
Yeah.
And on the ground, it is becoming a big success. What we have to really see, that all I've been trying to convey, that flying of drone is only a matter of learning, the process, and it is so exciting that even if you have been given, the pilot has been given a task well defined, he will always try and bring much more into it. And women, knowing the nature of the woman from the point of view that they will not take things only from a point of
No, they are very voracious in terms of learning, in terms of getting a task done.
Yes.
They are very, I mean, they have the ability to do it.
Even in CAPSI, even in our private security industry, I am expecting that female guards will come forward for
So that's a very good point, actually, when you spoke of the female security guards getting upskilled in terms of, because the way of the mind of a woman works is probably much. They think much better, and they much in terms of when they are on the field also, their ability to get things is much better. Talking of a few things on the drone, I mean, they could be the disadvantages of a drone is, number one is the battery part of it, right? Secondly is that how much time does it really going to take? Because if a battery is going to run for about 3-4 hours, I pity the woman who's going to carry a substitute battery on her back, either walk or cycle into that area and get into the field. So, any thought processes on in terms of the battery?
You have touched an important point. In if one looks from the point, what are the challenges? The fuel, what you call battery at the moment, no doubt is a challenge. And currently, on an average, the normal drones take anything 20 to 40 minutes flight with one pack of battery. What we have to understand is that the more you put a load on a drone, the more you are restricting it, because the weight increases and then the capacity to fly is directly proportional. So batteries is a limitation, and for that this current solution is, you again express that I'm only putting it in a proper methodology, and that is spare set of batteries are seen. So once the batteries indication comes, the drone is brought back and the new set is put, the other one is put on a charge. I won't say that carrying of battery is a challenge, because the technology which is used in the batteries, these are small batteries, not very heavy batteries. But having said that, one is not too happy with the fuel as batteries. So there are alternates coming in. There are gas
Based.
driven. These are motors which are run by battery. There will be gas driven engines like what you see in paint, and even hydrogen.
Okay.
In fact, these will be coming more from the logistics application point of view, where the current planning, which is under testing also, is that from one city to the other city, when material is being sent, then it will fly on a corridor. We have corridors for flying, which the government is defining.
You call it UTMs, right?
Yeah. And on those they will fly, and they are trying to keep these on those big motorways which they have developed in India, very good ones. And at various locations where we these days see restaurants and refreshment points, they are building up small points for refueling of these drones. So whatever fuel is that you could, so I would imagine that this will become again a outsourced service of providing batteries or any other type of a fuel, and it will be able to build up.
So you spoke of a very important point, and one of the industries, which was the logistics industry. There have been use case of logistics being used in terms of delivery. In fact, on a lighter mode, people have even got their beer delivered by the drones. But anyway, saying that is that these logistics companies, I won't take any names because it's not right. But do you see a future in the logistics industry per se?
See, when this question comes to me many times in different way, but what it actually sees is in the future of drones, a particular industry, how it sees the way this changeover this drones are bought in, basically in movement of articles. I definitely see a future even in logistics also. It may have again certain kind of stages where certain heavy items we may not be able to instantly do it, but the other challenge would also be I don't expect it to be point to point. But then I think I'm not wrong in saying that delivery or logistic is seen from the point of the total time taken in picking up an item and delivering it.
From point A to point B.
Point A to point B. So imagine like it's happening in many places where it's a question of a health organ.
Yeah.
Again, it's an item.
True.
And when it's in an area like a hilly area, in a hospital, and it need to be now for some reason being to sent onto ground, it has been very helpful. And similarly, other items also besides health, who may not have that importance as health, but have importance, whether it is, let us say, documents, or whether it is small containers. Again, going on that plan which I was highlighted it, wherein they will be moving in on these motorways, and at particular point they will be again uploaded, downloaded, and then from there by road it will be sent to the point. So if one tries to see the total time that
So you save a lot of time.
Yes, it may initially be cost or may be high, but in such urgency the cost is a secondary.
Cost doesn't matter.
So slowly then some solutions will also come into that. Yes, that beer aspect, even I have seen it. I
don't know how far it's true or no. Whether
it can be true till the time you are on the ground floor and you have your friends on the fourth floor and fifth floor. You can do and they have to stand and pick. But they were more from a point of showing to what extent it can go.
Yeah. One question which is coming to my mind, in fact, at the latest auto show, which was in January this year, they were able to show a drone with a capacity of 6 people to transfer you from, say a city A point A to point B. I don't know how many kilometers it is. And if that happens, that is a revolutionary idea actually. So what would your take be on that?
You see, one of the things which you missed out and now it has come in the discussion, drone is a part of a bigger kind of equipment we are talking, and what is called UAV, unidentified aerial vehicle. Drone is also that, but it's a very small version of that. It's pilotless. UAV, what you are talking is UAV, and it has been in discussion in developing phases, especially in automobile industry from last few years. It has been there, and practically it is possible, and it does help. What has to be seen, in my opinion, which I call as is a challenge, and I am sure you will agree with me. All these flying objects, whether it is drone or UAV, imagine they are like kites. And when we have these kite flying days, you have seen what happens. The whole thing is full of kites. Now there we don't have anything to risk from a point of health directly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these items, they need to have a proper passage to go, which you rightly say, use the UTV. So, you have to go in.
Yeah.
It's a defined corridor.
Absolutely.
I don't have to highlight. We all know how planes fly.
Yeah.
They have a defined
It's something like an ATC.
Exactly.
It's the replica of an ATC.
Yeah.
So,
So imagine now UAV comes. Imagine the big planes are already there. Imagine the drones coming. They can be accommodated, no doubt, because one way to accommodate is the levels they fly.
Yeah.
So by default, the big planes fly on very high, and then UAV fly less, and this fly less. But the need of the hour is those corridors need to be defined, and that is again not a rocket science, but security is an aspect, and again in that, because today I and you are talking that UAV more from a point of human being sitting in it. Don't forget, a bigger aircraft can carry much more than that.
Yes.
And then what is happening? You can imagine the size can increase.
True. So it was very interesting talking to you, Anil. In fact, there's a lot of learnings. Probably the audience also can, learn a lot. And of course, we are waiting for your comments. Kindly subscribe to our channel. But before we go, we have a few questions for the audience. I'll just go through the questions. Okay. So, what do you think is a drone? What could be the most scariest thing that you could think of a drone? Sorry.
Well, generally, the drones have the ability that if for any reason the commands for a reason get disconnected with the command center, because basically drone flies by giving commands from the ground by the pilot, and the drone is up and goes. Then it has a feature to come back, and where it had gone, it comes back to the base. But for certain specific cases, it may not happen that. In that case, it starts thing and goes.
It crashes.
Yeah, it goes and crashes. So that time, the public around it gets too worried about it, what is happening. And as a human being, I think I'm not wrong in saying it straight away gives you a feeling about it could be an attack, it could have this and those sorts of things.
One myth that you would like to bust here about drones? Or there are no myths to everything is facts, everything is figures, everything is technology.
I think myth is that let's not rush with expecting the drone can do everything. One of them definitely is the example you give.
Yeah.
We all are very fond of drinking, and we feel this will happen. That way, the others are. We have some youngsters also. They feel about that at a stage has come where when they're getting married, then probably they can use the drones and do a flight, and maybe in future it comes.
Yes.
Instantly, I could think of these kind of things, that too much of thought on to do impossible will not be correct to think on it. But having said that, I'm a very strong believer on drones. Why? Because I know currently the way government and associations like CAPSI are focusing. They are focusing more from a point to bring a kind of system or discipline in these drones to really conduct themselves. And till the time that happens, this drones will be a big blessing for us.
In fact, CAPSI is taking this forward. I mean, there is a shortage of drones, and CAPSI is taking the step forward to make at least 2 lakh drone pilots available in the market.
Yeah.
So, depending on where they could fit in, maybe some could fit in agriculture, some could fit in probably the manufacturing industry, some could fit in the logistics, some could be fitted even in the private security per se, by private security agencies. So keeping all this thing in mind, Anilji, it was a fantastic discussion that we had with you. Thank you so very much for joining us in the studio.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Please like, subscribe to this channel, and please wait for some more exciting features that would be coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.